Yeah, that is. It does help. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. I'm hoping there's more questions.
So your final build before you do the final go.
Yeah.
So 50%.
50% started the flowers, my last build for a 3-hour ferment. So the point I like to get it at, we were talking about milling and judging the flower. Smell is like my most useful sense to use. Taste is my most useful sense to use for judging the levain and its ripeness. I like to get it to where you put it on your tongue and you don't experience any sharpness right away, but then gradually you get a little bit, just a bite of sourness or sharpness. If I get it immediately, that's beyond where I want it.
So you're increasing that 50%. It's a shorter time.
Yeah.
And you're still getting that balance between the yeast and you get what's the advantage if you go last build is 12 hours? Do you decrease that amount from the bond?
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
Like about 12% or 25%?
Yeah, you have to play with it.
In Arizona, I did 12%.
Yeah.
That way we went really long.
Sure, I can understand that. It could even go less. Did you have a question?
I did. I was just wondering what the hydration is.
65%. So it's pretty steady. Whole grain flour. Yeah, for the longer overnight, that's usually cooler, 70, 75. And then for the next two, I'm going like a red dough temperature, 78, 80. And one reason I do the high percentage starter to flour for those last two feeds is they're very short. I want to be able to have some window to use it and know that I'm not using it too early. By having so much starter in there, you know there's a base level of activity, even if I don't get it quite right. Yeah.
What percent starter are you doing?
Yeah.
Bread?
Starter for the breads varies. Typical starter levain percentage for the breads is 12% for me. The einkorn, salt. Yeah, you can go ahead and do the salt. It is. Well, you got the word. So can you just do that gradually?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. So so Jonathan thought it'd be good to do this for about 8 minutes on first. So we'll give that a try. Why don't we put the timer on 8 once you get a chance. So einkorn. Yeah, we're talking about einkorn. So the first time I tried the einkorn, what happened was I pulled it out of the retarder after it had done its whole bulk ferment, and there were tears everywhere on the surface of the dough. So I realized that it was a very active flour. So I went from 12 to 8% levain, and that worked. That was the key to. Well, what's happening with the einkorn, in my mind, is there's so much enzymatic activity naturally in the flour. We don't have to be introducing more with the levain. We don't need to be introducing more fermentation activity to it, so I cut it back. I went from 12 to 8, so it's 25% reduction, whatever. But that works, so that's where I still am today with the einkorn. One thing, I guess, that ties into the flours and trying to judge the flours and how they perform. You've got your weak flours that can be due to several things. One is that there's some starch damage, or there's some sprouting in the field that causes, and then once it dries and it's ground up, you've got all this very active enzyme activity in it because it's actually partially sprouts. And that happens when it's raining during harvest time and the farmers can't get into the field. So that's one kind of weak flour. There's another kind of weak flour that has nothing to do with high enzymatic. It just has to do with poor protein quality, where maybe you're just getting all this extensibility where it stretches and stretches and stretches, and you can't find any elasticity to bring it back and hold its form. So that's another one. With that kind of weak flour, I tend to raise the percentage of levain, because that's where you need more strength, and the acids produced in your levain will help strengthen that. But for the kind of wheat flour that I had for the einkorn, I could see it was so enzymatically active. I pack them. So those are the kinds of things I'm looking for. I want to take a peek at the dough and see what's happening.